Good morning and happy Friday from the Jetsetting porters in the Dominican Republic. I hope your week has been as wonderful for you as it has been for us here. It's been a lot rainier this week, but it's kept everything nice and cool, if not a little bit humid, but we're managing the hair just fine. This week I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about transportation. Since we don't have a car, it's been one of the factors that we've really had to adjust to here. But if you've ever been driven, had to drive, had to get around a developing country, sometimes it can be really hectic. It's quite a bit different dynamic than it is driving around back in the States. So I just kind of wanted to show you some of the options for public transportation, walking around, just kind of what our day-to-day looks like as far as getting around goes. We've been really impressed with the infrastructure in the Dominican Republic, at least the places we've been. We're definitely in cities. We were in Punta Cana last time, we're in Sosua now, so we're not talking like a very rural area, but we've been impressed with the highways and that kind of thing so far. And even though the traffic is hectic, first, if you've ever driven on the shitty roads in oil-filled traffic in Midland, Texas, you're a little bit prepared. And even if you haven't, there's an adjustment factor. So day one might be really hectic, but day two, day three, week two, year one, year two, all of it, you kind of get used to what you're seeing and how to get around on their terms versus what you're used to back home. So we don't currently have a car, which means to get anywhere we have to walk, which from our apartment means crossing a little highway, or we can take public transportation. We walk along the highway, we walk on the beach, walk in the rain, walk up the hill, we walk a lot. And there are several types of public transportation here. First, there are tour buses, both big and small. These are going to be nicer, air-conditioned, some of them have Wi-Fi, and of course they are the most expensive option. Some of them go on official pre-planned tours, but some of them you can hire to take you off the beaten path. For example, some of the parents' associations at the private and international schools use them as bus services during the week. There are both private and public taxis. You can wait at designated-ish stops along the road and hop in a taxi that's on a predetermined route. You'll share it with as many strangers as will fit, and it's dirt cheap, about 50 pesos or $1 for both me and Michael. You'll find private taxis loitering around supermarkets waiting to charge you extra to carry your groceries and take you directly to your front door. A lot of expats here keep drivers that they trust on call. That's less a safety issue than a how much will they be charged issue, and that's how they get around. We're definitely still learning the ropes. Sometimes we pay the standard fee, and then sometimes we know we've been gouged. So far, our two favorite forms of transportation are the guaguas and the moto-taxis. The motorcycle taxis have been a little more expensive than the guaguas, and we can't tell if that's because we're getting roped off or if it's because we have to pay per head. Me, Michael, kiddos, all of that. In the guaguas, we only have to pay for me and Michael because the kiddos can sit on our lap. Even so, they've averaged us about 200 pesos or $4 for two motorcycles to take a child, an adult, and sometimes a bottle of rum up our very large hill instead of dropping us at the closest road stop. Plus, we just squish the kids between us and the driver, and they yell "wee" all the way home. The guaguas are large vans. We can hop on them and get into town, to their school, or even as far as the Cabarete, which is the next town over, for about 50 pesos or $1. These are a tight squeeze since they're trying to get as many people on them as possible, but they're totally workable as long as you're cool potentially sitting on someone else's lap. Everybody just gets super close here. So our initial plan, and I think our continued and ideal plan, would be to not have a car here unless we decide to be here long term. So we really enjoy walking around. It's good for the body, good for the soul, all of those things, but it does cut quite a bit of time out of your day. To get to the kids' school, to walk there is 2.5 miles, so that's 5 miles round trip, and we have to pick them up and drop them off. So you've got double duty there. There are some complications getting a car and getting a motorcycle without establishing your residency first. It's not impossible. They can't stop you per se, but if they do stop you and you don't have the improper papers, we've heard they'll impound your car immediately, and there's a lot of fines and stuff we don't really want to deal with associated with that. We have talked about just getting some regular bicycles so that we can continue our exercise portion, but maybe speed up our time commitment. We can just strap kiddos on the back and get around. But until we move from the current apartment we're in to our new apartment on February 1st and kind of get familiar with that area and what's in walking distance and what our needs are, we're not going to make any long-term commitments. But maybe we'll just start becoming moto-taxis on the side to make a little extra money, and then we'll really be Dominican. So I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week.